I'm reviewing. I don't know why I keep saying wait, but I saw Perks of Being a Wallflower for the first time. And it's available on Netflix. The film came out in 2012, which is actually a decent amount of long ago. It was 8 years, so it's kind of crazy how old I'm getting. Even though 24 is really not that old, but hey, whatever. As I pick my nose. But if you're unfamiliar with Perks of Being a Wallflower, it's based off of a novel of, I'm pretty sure, the same name. It's about this introverted kid who is a freshman in high school, and he's very, wallflowery. He's just kind of tries to not, like, really interact with anyone, and, kind of has a little bit of a traumatic past, which you don't really find out until later. But then he meets these two seniors who kind of take him under his wing, and, like, become friends with him, and that's kind of what the film's about. And so the director here is Steven Chbosky. I'm pretty sure the main thing he's done is this film. He's done, I think, Beauty and the Beast, the live action version, which I didn't really hear anything good about, and I was not gonna fucking see that film. But he did this film. Logan Lerman stars as the main character, as Charlie. Ezra Miller and Emma Watson are the two seniors that he befriends in the film, and he also maybe falls for one of them, Emma Watson's character, and you kind of get to see how that turns out. So that's the film. That's the little synopsis. That's where we're at. This is definitely an introvert's movie, though. I will definitely give it that. Maybe not the exact one to follow as an introvert, but we'll get into that a little bit later. It's definitely a wonderful feel-good type of film, which is always awesome. I always like films like this, kind of like put their hand on your shoulder and be like, you know what, it's okay, man. It's okay to be like this. And this is really great, and it's definitely a therapeutic type of film, type of story. It's incredibly relatable. Therefore, very rewatchable. Relatability and rewatchability definitely go hand in hand when in terms of storytelling, and films and TV and everything. But so it's very relatable. That's really awesome. So let's just get into what the film does well. First off, the acting in this film is stellar. I think there's no poor performance. There's no standout that's bad. I think the main standout that's really great is Logan Lerman. I'm actually incredibly surprised because the only thing I've really seen him in is those like Percy Jackson films that I've only seen really clips of, but they haven't really been good. And the Hunters series, and I've reviewed that series on my channel. I suggest you check that video out. I've clipped it up from my episode, and it's on this channel. So I suggest you listen to that. But I mean, I wasn't incredibly impressed by his performance. I mean, I wasn't really incredibly impressed by anything in that show. But he was just kind of fun. But here, he's a lot better, and I see what the hype was behind him coming from this film, because I think there was a decent amount of hype for Logan Lerman as an actor coming out of this one, because he delivers a phenomenal performance, and Ezra Miller and Emma Watson also do really great. Plus there's like a really awesome small performance by Paul Rudd, and I think that the scenes with Paul Rudd are like some of the best. And there's specifically one moment between him and Logan Lerman's character that's really touching. I thought that was really special. I like that a lot. I like that one scene very much. It's like towards the end of the film. Doesn't hurt that the film is filmed in like mostly my area, like that tunnel that they go in and they stand on the car and they're like, yeah, free world, fucking whatever, I'm free. I've driven through that tunnel multiple times actually. So it's kind of cool. Go Pittsburgh. I mean, it's filmed in Pittsburgh. The football team that's filmed in that one scene where they're at a football game, the away team is actually the high school that I used to work at, which is kind of cool. The Thomas Jefferson High School. Shout out to them. Yeah, I mean they're always like wearing like Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. There's one scene where he's wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers shirt. Go Steelers! Hopefully we don't suck this year. Please, Ben, don't suck. If we even have an NFL season, but yeah, go Steelers! Go Stellars! How about them Stellars? And it. But yeah, I could have used a little bit more Pittsburghese. It was funny that at one moment in the film, some chick calls him a jagoff, which I thought was hilarious. Fitting in a little bit of Pittsburgh lingo, I appreciated that. Just drinking water today, guys. But yeah, so yeah, it's pretty. That adds a little bit of something that a little bit more biased because I'm from the area, which is kind of cool. The story, like I said, the story is very relatable. It's a coming of age story, so it is going to be relatable. But it's especially if for one of those kids who were kind of didn't talk a lot in high school and wasn't very outgoing. You weren't part of the it crowd. That's very cool, and that's relatable, and also falling for a girl and like always like thinking about her and all that bullshit with the having a crush. That's also very relatable. I mean, I think everyone's kind of been there before. But yeah, so also the direction of the film is really well done. There is a certain surprise that is kind of hidden in the film, and I thought this was kind of just going to be like a by the numbers type of thing, and the film actually surprised me, which was really awesome. It's not incredibly rare for a film to surprise me. I am kind of like I'm surprisingly, you might think I can predict films pretty well. I mean, I can probably predict predictable horror films because that's easy. But just normal stories, I actually can't really predict too much. I'm usually kind of wrong. But yeah, this film surprised me, and that's always an added benefit for the good. Like, not surprising, like, oh, I can't believe you actually did that. Like, something I'm going to be talking about at the end of this episode. But yeah, it surprised me in a good way, and it makes sense for the story, and it enhances the story, and you view things a little bit differently, and you're like, oh, okay, that's why he's like that. Makes sense. So that was really great, and that's all on the director and the editor pulling that off, because that's always kind of a rough thing. I don't know if the book does the same thing, if they reveal it in the very beginning or the end. I've heard both things. I've heard it from one of my friends who's read the book. I think he also thinks it's revealed at the very end, but it's kind of, I don't know. I haven't read the novel, so I don't know. But the themes in the film are also really great, and that I agree with. There's you don't control where you come from, but you control where you go from there, and that's like an explicit line that Logan Lerman narrates in the film at the very end, and that's great. It's a great theme. It's a great concept to get out there. Just it also kind of fits with my message that I consistently give at the end of my episodes. It's okay to not be okay right now, because tomorrow might not be as bad as today is, and it might be, most likely will be better. So time is a good healer, and also you can control where you go from that shitty moment in your life. Sometimes you can't really control those shitty moments from happening to you, but you can control, how you use that shitty moment in your life, and to move on from there. I thought that was really awesome and a very beautiful theme. I really liked that a lot. So since we talked about all the good things, let's talk about some criticisms that I have. Honestly, there's really not a lot. A lot of them are just kind of nitpicks and just kind of my personal, flaws with the film. I think there's this one moment where he mentions his old friend. Something happens to him, and it's just kind of thrown away. Like, it's not that whole thing is just never really explored. I mean, I could have missed something, but I feel like he just kind of throws it away. Like this thing happened to my friend and to me, and what the fuck? Oh, that's my dishwasher. Sorry, there's a lot of noise going on in my room. Sorry. Hopefully you don't hear it as much as I do. But yeah, so he mentions his friend in one scene, and it's like, that's kind of a monumental thing to bring up. I think we should probably deal with that, and it's never really dealt with. But I mean, again, it's really not the most important thing that he's really dealing with, so I get that. The bullying seems a little bit cliche. I mean, again, I wasn't really in a high school. I wasn't in high school in the 90s. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I was born in the 90s. I was born in 1996, so I wasn't in high school at that time. So I don't really know what bullying was. I mean, that's not even something for really my brother. I mean, it's probably something for my brother to tell you. I mean, he's 34. He was born in 86. I mean, the late 90s, I believe he was in high school. I believe he would have been. But yeah, so that's a question for him. But yeah, it just seems like it was a little cliche from the bullying. But I mean, again, the time period I'm not really incredibly familiar with. But like the big criticism I have with the film, but this is just from my experience. I mean, I think just the whole concept of being stuck on this one girl and being so into this one girl and just like, oh, if I just play the waiting game, she'll eventually come around and she'll like me. And obviously, like, it works in the film, but I mean, like, that rarely works. There's a moment in the film where there's another girl, like, standing right in front of him saying, like, hey, I really like you. And like, it's like, oh, cool. She likes him. I mean, I get it. She's not, a match for him. The other girl is. But I mean, like, come on. Like, I don't know. It just kind of rubbed me. I mean, it does rub me a little bit the wrong way because in my experience, being like caught up in this one, like that one girl, usually never works out. Like, oh yeah, she's, she'll eventually come around and, like you. And it's like, that rarely happens. And if that's happened to you, you're fucking lucky. Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of need to be a little bit more, because I'm sure there's been other girls that liked me, but since my perspective was just like kind of like I used tunnel vision on this one girl, I just kind of missed. I missed the opportunity. And, you pay for that over time, and it kind of sucks. But yeah, so it's not a really great thing to get out there. It's like, oh, be hung up on this one girl and wait around for her. And like, it's like, oh man, like what the hell, dude? And like, there is a moment where it's like, dude, you're kind of an asshole for doing that. Yeah, so, but that's also just kind of a me thing. I mean, obviously it helps with the story. The story, it like needs them to be together at the end. So it is also a movie, but so that's just kind of my personal criticism, and that doesn't really, play into how good the film is. It's just kind of a concept that I'm just like, I wouldn't really spread that too much, because a lot of kids, are gonna think, oh man, if I just wait around, and wait there for her to just, break up with her boyfriend, and I'll be there, to pounce. It's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that, kids. But anyway, so does the film have the movie magic, though? Does it got the movie magic? The Mikey's movie magic. Hopefully you don't hear the buzzsaw outside. But, yeah, it definitely does. I enjoyed the entire runtime. I think my criticisms are very kind of downplayed, opposed to what I really like about the film. And I could definitely see myself watching this film again. It's pretty rewatchable, mainly because it's very relatable. So yeah, it definitely has a movie magic. I would highly recommend it if you're definitely into those like coming of age stories, those kind of feel good movies, those movies that just kind of like I said, put their hand on your shoulder and just be like, it's okay. It's a good film to kind of watch if you're kind of feeling down, especially if you're in high school. It's a really quality film. Plus, it's filmed in Pittsburgh, so just saying, Pittsburgh is an awesome city. Don't be shitting on my Pittsburgh. But yeah. So yeah, Perks of Being a Wallflower. It's available on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend watching it. It's a quality film.